Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Agora, Singapore. This is 7 p.m. Singapore time, 7th August 2024. We have an exciting evening together. First, I invite you to introduce yourself. Maybe 1 to 2 minutes. Tell us your name. Tell us your passion. What do you like to do? What you enjoy the most? And then tell us what do you want to do tonight. Let's start with Mr. Mike Nicholson.
Good evening, all. What I am here to do is to revive my childhood memories of living in Singapore during the 1960s. So it's always great to be in Agora, Singapore, first Wednesday of the month. And what I'm really looking forward to tonight are the three great speakers we have. Dunstan already here, and that is really
Dr.
why
Vincent
I'm here.
is here as well.
Pardon
Can you
me?
see? Dr. Vincent is here.
Okay, hello. Yeah, I'm still on one eye. I'm having cataracts removed at the moment. So I've just had one set of eye drops. I've got 3 more minutes for the next eye drop. So when I go dark, I'm under operation. So anyway, no, always great to be here. This is such a good meeting. It is very much more like an advanced meeting than a regular Agora meeting. So we don't have anything as good as this yet in Indonesia, but this is really good. So I applaud you, Ban Peng, for leading the charge. Thank you. Back to you, Ban Peng.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, I think in Singapore we are our members are more on the adults, so they are more interested to share ideas and learn from each other. So that's how it's evolved to today. Now, next person I want to invite, Dr. Vincent Bosman, all the way from South Africa.
Hello, good evening, everybody. And once again, thank you, Ban Peng, for inviting me. My second time in your meeting. It's an amazing place to be. I'm working part-time. I'm semi-retired or possibly retired, but just doing my own consultation in social research, especially in higher education. My passion is development of young children and young people in the areas of reading, critical thinking, and engaging with the world and getting a sense of the self-worth in them. I also like music. I like in particular some jazz music and light classics. But I most of all like to be with you guys, and I hope that I serve you well and that we'll all enjoy this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. I think there's room for collaboration with Mike. Mike helps a lot of children with public speaking and stuff like that. So definitely, if you're into education and children's focus, definitely Mike will be someone who needs support and assistance.
I have one club here of 300 Agorians who are middle school, 13, 14, 15-year-olds. And we meet every Friday night by Zoom. And the first 30 minutes is collective. We're all together. They have a large Zoom account. And then we break out into 10 breakout rooms. And I'm about this Friday to open up clubs in each of the 10 breakout rooms. So in fact, we will have 10 Agora clubs in that one school. So yeah, anything's possible here. But yeah, we have a lot of young people involved in Agora in Indonesia. Homeschoolers, schoolers, people on different remote islands. Yeah, it's really good. So it keeps me rejuvenated and youthful. So thank you, Dr. Vincent, for catering for us old but young at heart Agorians.
It's a pleasure. No? In fact, as a matter of interest, I'm adjudicating at a high school, what you call senior school tonight, a girls' senior school, in their public speaking competition. Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow.
You should invite them along to Agora Con, which is Saturday and Sunday, August 24, 25. It's about 1 p.m. GMT. from
Okay.
memory. So converted to South Africa, and I think it's probably mid-afternoon. I think you're about 4 hours different from Indonesia. I mean, we're GMT +7. I think you're
Yeah,
GMT +3. But anyway,
I think
so yeah,
Hector will be able to brief you a lot.
Okay.
Dr. Vincent was introduced by Hector from South Africa,
Okay, yeah.
so they know each other.
no, we absolutely, yeah. Heather's very involved in the education upgrade that we're currently doing. So yeah, Agora is a place to be.
Yeah, Mike,
It's a lot of
you must get the contact information from Dr. Vincent. You can invite him to
yeah.
help out in your sessions.
Yeah, you can
He's
email
got,
me.
he got
Absolutely.
experience and skills to share.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
can share in the chat group if you want. Okay,
The more the
now
merrier.
yeah,
Could
I
send
will
me your
invite Shauna.
phone number. Okay.
Shauna, tell us a little bit about your background, where you are, and what is your passion. What motivates you? What inspires you? What is your hobby? What you like to do? Shauna, please.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to be here again after a long time. Feels like a long time. So I'm in London now, and it's been a month here. So what excites me actually, it's people really. And I see people from different backgrounds doing amazing things with what they have and with their interests. It gets me going. It makes me do things that I normally wouldn't do. So I think, yeah, that's what it is. So after coming here, I've done a bit of gardening, which other than watering plants, I had never done. And along with weeding out what wasn't needed, I also weeded out the good part of bits from the garden as well. So I'm learning. And yeah, so it's been fun meeting some new people, being to places that I haven't been, and enjoying it all. Thank you, and I'm happy to be back at Agora after. It feels like a long time, as I said earlier. Thank you,
Thank you.
Vincent.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Shauna.
everyone.
We welcome you every time. We miss you when you're not here. Tell us what in your gardening, what do you plant?
Okay, so we have some beans. So that's my husband who has planted it all and taking care of the garden. So again, I was plucking some weeds and I noticed that there was one big one, which I thought, oh, how did he forget and leave it behind? So actually, he had left it to replant it, plant the seeds, which I plucked out, thinking that he had missed it. So yeah, so we have some vegetables. Apples, which are just a few though, and then lots of different types of flowers. So yes, and lots of grass to mow and keep. Yes. Yeah, so I tried tried to mow the lawn, and I felt that the machine was pulling me around rather than me trying to mow the lawn. So it was all some bits of fun. So
Shona, you should get one of those push me, pull you lawnmowers. It's good for exercise.
yeah,
I'm sure your garden is a riot of colors.
yes, it is. Mm,
I'm
Okay,
just going off
yes.
for a high operation. I'll keep listening.
let's invite E.T. E.T., can you hear me? Hi, E.T.
Hello.
Welcome. E.T. is from Indonesia. E.T.,
Hi.
we give you 1 to 2 minutes. Introduce yourself, where you are, a little bit about your background, and tell us your passion. What are you excited about? Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm from Indonesia, and well, I'm a Toastmasters. So I would like to say I am 4 years in Toastmasters, and I visited Agora here to share about my passion. My passion is about helping people to find their funny bones and to voice their voices in podcasting, and also uh, found out their inner beauty by training them in soft skills. And yes, thank you, but
Thank you. So you are such a different person from the rest who have spoken because you want to help people find their funny bone to start with. How do you do such a thing? Oh, I think he didn't hear me. He went off, yeah? Okay, that case, we will invite.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I hear you. I hear
you
you.
hear you. Okay, tell us about finding the funny bone. How do you do it?
Well, it would be takes time, around 30 to 55 minutes. Maybe next month.
Next time, yeah? Okay, thank you very much. Let's invite Mukesh. Can you hear me, Mukesh? Mukesh was from Bangalore, now in Singapore.
Yeah.
Tell us about a little bit about your background and then about your passion.
Yeah, so good evening everyone, and good afternoon everyone who's staying in UK London part. So it's the first time here. Nice to meet you all. I am studying at Singapore, doing my masters here, and I work in climate and sustainability space. That's what really interests me in my internship. Yeah, that's about my work. I've been in Bangalore all the while. Like this is the first time I'm coming to Singapore. And it's pretty nice. The weather is nice here. It's hot compared to Bangalore. That's the only reason. Yeah. Or else my personal hobbies are like I like driving cars. Yeah, that's my personal interest, apart from my professional interest.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mukesh.
Thank
I'm
you.
very interested to find out about your involvement with sustainability. We hear the word on TV, in social media, everywhere, but what does it really mean?
So I work in circular economy initiatives for a company. We try to develop circular economy initiatives like water management, waste management. How do we use renewable carbon? So things like that. We try to work on. So sustainability is all about using the current resources in a way that future generations also can use it. So not trying to exploit it or exhaust it. Yeah.
Yes. So it's circular. Circular means you use a resource over and over again without
Yeah, it's all about recycling, reusing. It's all about that.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Mukesh. And I wish
Thank you.
you a very successful and happy stay in Singapore.
Yeah, thank you.
James, let us invite James. Can you hear me, James? Tell us a little bit about your background and about what you like to do most. I can see you must be walking around or running. You disappeared. Okay, let's get somebody else. Mark. Can you hear me, Mark? Oh, James, you're back. Would you like to speak? I think we get Mark.
Sorry. I pressed everybody. Can you hear me?
Ken, you speak first, then followed by Mark. Introduce yourself and then tell us about your passion.
I'm an insurance officer in Vicom Inspection Center. I like to exercise, go gym. Last year I swim a lot, but this year didn't swim much really because I find that swimming doesn't help me lose weight. But my focus was more on losing weight. Then this year I did other exercises, mainly cardio, and I like to come for Agora meeting because I find that Agora help me boost my confidence a lot in my public speaking, and in the long run I hope to take out a teaching or training position. I recently submitted a
ladies and gentlemen, 2 days.
Hello, teaching and training position. I still waiting for outcome but hope it goes well
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Yes, please.
Just a moment, yeah. I'm just typing something on the screen. Okay, thank you, James. Let us invite Mark Chan to introduce himself and share with us his passion.
Good evening. Gentlemen, a few days ago, during a meeting.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark. My passion is on health because health is the best investment. We take care of our car, we take care of our aircon, we service them regularly to prevent expensive repair. But when come to the body, we are reactive. We don't do proactive work to prevent diseases. And many people are putting the wrong stuff into their body. Smoke, drink, gluttony, and all sorts of food. Most people live to eat. They don't eat to live. So as a result, 1 in 3 person in Singapore will die of heart disease and stroke. 1 in 3 person will die of cancer. And the other 1/3 will die of diabetes. All this can be prevented. So right now, I am a liver detox specialist. I'm a natural remedy practitioner. I help people and free people from medication. And I treat the body by detoxification using a simple natural remedy. And today, I just help a person overcome cirrhosis of the liver, eczema, fatty liver, and all sorts of problems that conventional medicine cannot find an ultimate cure. Conventional medicine focus on the symptom, not cure the disease. So that's my passion. Detoxification to create an environment where the body heals by itself.
Thank you, Mark. I'm really very impressed. I think that is really a very worthy thing to do because, as you said, many people are suffering and you actually dedicate like your life to helping this group of people. I think Singapore really need more people like you because many of us are used to Western medicine, right? And Western medicine is like what you say, reactive. So if you are sick, they give you something to eat, but they are not really, they are treating the symptom much of the time, whereas you are trying to prevent things from going wrong. So I really appreciate that very much. Thank you, Mark. I see Sim, Mr. Sim from Malaysia. Please talk to us. There you are. Tell us a little bit about your background and tell us about your passion.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Ban Peng, for the invitation. A very good evening to all of you. As you can see, I'm from Malaysia. My full name is Sim Bok Sun. Chinese names are tricky, so keep it short. SIM card. Just remember me that way, yeah, Sim. A little bit about myself. My passion, I used to love orchids very much. I used to collect, grow, and I even went to the point of competing in orchid shows. Why do I love orchids so much? It brings me so close to nature. It reminds me of the mighty handicraft of God. Just to share with you a little bit about orchids. Species, and I define species as orchids that are given to us by God. There are more than, listen carefully, there are more than 25,000 types of orchid species. And then man got very creative. And I suppose that's why orchids are so appealing because it's so easy to hybridize them. So when you take a species with another species to hybridize them, we call them an orchid hybrid. Singapore is a fantastic place, so you can find a lot of beautiful orchid hybrids there. If you put in hybrids, I think it goes into millions, literally millions. And you can find out more from the Royal Horticultural Society in UK that will register every single orchid that's hybridized. So that's my passion. But about 2 years ago, just before the pandemic, I was struck by glaucoma. So glaucoma is a sight stealer. So I'm beginning to lose my vision. And so I'm giving up on orchid now. So now I'm looking for another passion. Yeah, so that was my passion. I was growing orchid for close to about 20 years. Would that be good enough?
That's more than good enough. It's amazing. We always learn something, and tonight we learned that there are 25,000 orchid species, and there are also sub-variations of each species. That means it must be a million individual kind of subspecies. Wow, 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 wow. How do you like grow orchid? They are from spores or from seeds or from I don't know what else. How are orchids propagated?
The easiest way now is to go to any orchid nursery and buy plants. I wouldn't recommend that unless you really know, like I said, there's so many species of orchids. Each orchid has a different growing requirement, and it's not easy to grow orchid from its seedling. It's not easy. So let the pro do the job. You just go to orchid nursery and you just point, and whatever that attracts your eye, get that. Get blooming size orchid. Then it's easier to take care of them.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you, Sid. Angelina, Angel, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, Langeline,
Yes.
you're here. Show us your face. Introduce yourself. Share your passion. What do you like most to do?
Oh dear, I didn't expect to be talking today. I just wanted to observe.
Yeah, that is fine as well.
Yes, of course. Wait,
Okay, thank you. Angel, where are you, Angel? Show us your
Yes.
face. Talk to us.
Now I'm in hospital
Huh?
and sorry, my voice is not clear. Yeah, but hello.
Yeah, talk to us.
Yeah, I can hear you, but very crowded here.
Ah, there you are.
Wait. Now you can see that.
Cannot see you, but we can hear you.
Yeah, in phone. So my voice here. So yeah, I just hear and follow you, but a bit distraction in here because in here is so I'm waiting my sister now in surgery.
Oh.
And I will learn your message from Dunstan and everything.
Oh. What happened to your sister?
Yeah, surgery of any something wrong in abdomen.
Oh, okay. Our best wishes for a successful surgery and a quick recovery.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Angel. Now is 7:30 Singapore time. We are going to start the first presentation, special presentation for this evening. We have Dr. Vincent Bosman, right? Okay, now, Doctor, you have about 30 minutes. Do you wish to help you with the timing? Or do you can keep your own time?
I can keep time, but you can tell me when it's 10 minutes to go.
Okay, so I will let you know when it's 10 minutes to go. And this
Okay.
is how I'm going to help you. Can you see my screen?
No,
No.
because I wanted to share my screen with you.
Oh, you cannot see my screen at all?
No.
Okay.
But I'll share my screen with you because I'm doing it on a PowerPoint. Is that okay?
Okay, sure, you can share screen with me. So 10 minutes before that means at 20 minutes, I will just give you a little sound
Okay.
Okay. Ken, so you have 2 minutes to introduce yourself, to tell us your background and what makes you suitable person to talk on this topic, and why is it so important we listen to this presentation.
Can
2 minutes.
you see my screen?
I can see, but yeah. The body voice coordination.
There you can see it
Yes.
now?
Yes, excellent.
Good. Once again, thank you for the invitation, and a very good evening to all of you. I've been in education for 40 years. Amongst other things I taught communication, I taught education, I'm in social research, and I think I have something to share with you. So I hope that you will benefit from it, and at the end, I hope to have 10 minutes open to engage with you on any questions or comments that you have. So what we're saying is that you are hardwired for communication. By our very nature, we are meant to communicate because we're relational beings. We are born from relationships into relationships. And at the very core of our being is the need and the ability to communicate, to engage with others. It is therefore in our DNA. Paul Watzlawick says that you cannot not communicate. So whatever you do, even if you do nothing, you're communicating something. And so we must always be keenly aware and sensitive to how we engage, how we present ourselves, and how we deal with people, because in the process we are communicating. So your body voice coordination is the source and the summit of the message production and transmission. Because the first thing that people are confronted with is your physical presence. I was interested when I listened to Langeline, and she said she was not expecting to be talking, just to observe. And I think there is the trick, to observe carefully what goes on behind the words, because that is where the message ultimately lies. So as indicated, we are confronted by the visual, the physical, the body presence. And then after we have been confronted by that visual, as you've been confronted by my visual, even before I started talking, you saw me. And I know a lot of people already made up their minds about me. This guy looks funny or looks whatever. We even unknowingly, we make certain judgments about people. Sometimes we are right, sometimes we are wrong. But on first impressions, we try to read a person, what the person might be like. And so then after the visual, you hear my voice. So I have a visual presence first, then I have a sound presence, and that goes for all of us. And so we must be acutely aware of how we speak and how we project when we speak. And finally, right at the end, we have a verbal presence or a word presence. Then you hear the words. And this is very important because in Agora, when we make speeches, we tend to think that crafting the speech is only going to do with what is written out. But it is more than that. That is the last thing that people engage with, are the words. And so any disjuncture, any disharmony between how you present yourself, how you appear before people, and your voice that you use to put across the words, any disjuncture there will create poor communication, ineffective communication. It might create a lot of ambiguity in the process. For example, if you are very happy and you tell a happy story with a sad and a long face, there will be some disjuncture there. There'll be some inconsistency or tension there, and it might confuse people. There's a psychologist, Albert Mehrabian, and he worked out this equation. He said in terms of the visual impact of communication, that is 55% of the communication. So the very minute you walk up to the podium to make a speech, the very minute you walk up to put out your hand to greet the person, even before you start talking, you've already had 55% of your message has been transmitted. The context of that message has been transmitted via the perception of the person of you and how you've created that perception by your physical presence. In terms of the vocal element of the message, how your voice sounds and how you use that voice, he argues from his research that is 38% of the message is informed, is shaped, is impacted upon by the vocal quality, your vocal presence. Now that leaves us with a verbal impact. And if you look at this, it leaves us only with 7%. There are people who argue that it might be more or less, but the bottom line is that it's the smallest part of the message is the verbal, because the verbal is embodied, is enfleshed by the visual, and it is given a presence. It can be heard through the vocal. And so it is carried by the visual and the vocal. That's why I also like Angelina's little picture up there about the non-verbal saying 65%. Well, there's still only 35% left. Angelina, sorry. And there she's crying, my goodness. But those are tears of happiness, I assume. Okay, let us look at the visual elements. Your body carries the message. In fact, you are the message. You are the message. And so your dress code tells you something about the message. If you go to a very formal meeting, there's a certain dress code that presents you in your formal capacity. If you go to the beach, you present yourself in beach clothing. It is context appropriate. If you come to a very formal meeting and you're dressed in your holiday clothes or your beach clothes and your swimming trunks, it just won't work. I mean, if we had Ben Peng, for argument's sake, tonight in his Batman suit or in his swimming clothes, it just wouldn't work for us. The other thing is about adornments or objects. Keep it simple. A pocket is fine. A watch is fine. But if you have all of kind of things all over you and you look like a Christmas tree again, it will distract people from the message. You've got people with eye rings and nose rings and earrings and all kinds of things all at the same time and necklaces. It just doesn't work. Be consistent. Whatever you do, whatever you wear, however you present yourself must be in conjunction with the message, and it must help the message to be carried across properly. Your grooming is important. I mean, I've been to meetings where people are half shaven. I mean, they still have little stubbles coming out. They look like people on holiday. It just doesn't go well. Have respect for your audience. Have respect for yourself. And finally, have respect for the message that you want to transmit. Grooming is important. Posture, shrugging your shoulders, arms folded. Have an open posture. Have an inviting posture. But always be culture conscious. The culture in the Far East, the culture in Singapore is very different to the culture in South Africa. And so if I were to come out there, and I'd love to do that, I must make myself aware of that culture so that it's not a hugging culture. Maybe it is not a very contacting culture. So you just bow, as we would say in India, and namaste. If you go to Greece, everybody wants to hug you. If you go to America, people stretch out their hand and they greet you. So be aware of the physical proximities. Movements, facial gestures, hand movements. Sometimes it can be distracting. You have people swinging their hands all over the place when you talk, and instead of listening, you try to count how many times they're going to swing their hands. Or you're trying to guess when they're going to swing their hands around. Facial expressions, again, I spoke about it earlier. A happy face for a happy talk, serious face for a serious talk. If you talk a scary story, try to look scared. Try to get that connection between what you're projecting visually to match what you're projecting audibly through the words. Eye contact, it is something that we struggle with when we start with new speakers. A very interesting phenomenon in classroom when you're teaching, even at university level, you ask a question, you see a lot of students looking down. Even in the third year, you're looking down, and always say to them, you're looking down, you're not making eye contact so that you cannot see me. But because you can't see me doesn't mean I can't see you. So please, people can see you even if you look away and you can't see them. Try to make eye contact, because through your eye contact, you get physical contact, virtual physical contact. You also get audible contact because people can zoom into your speech, and then you get verbal contact. And then eventually you get head contact. They begin to think about what you're saying. Proxemics, I highlighted earlier. Proxemics is about distancing, your use of space. Some people tend to get stuck behind the podium, and they clutch the podium, and they won't leave that podium. You can move around a bit, but again, pacing up and down. We have a speaker in our club who tends to pace all over the place. And instead of following the speech, you're following him and you're trying to find out where is he going to go next. Use the space, but use it to the advantage of the speech. If you're talking about somebody approaching, you can take a little walk as approaching. Somebody ducking, you can duck. But again, the important thing is no distraction, but whatever you do and however you use the space in your speech or even in talking to people, you need to do it in a way that advances and enhances your speech and getting the message across. I just put in this word because I think it's a nice word, chronemics, and this is what Ben Peng asked me about earlier. He asked me about the time, arrive on time, but also if you have 30 minutes, please don't use 80 minutes. Also be time conscious because it's respect for time, because time is a resource that cannot be, you can't work back on time, that cannot be recapped. When it's gone, so don't walk into somebody else's time. Always be respectful on that. In terms of the vocal volume, loudness and softness. And sometimes for dramatic effect, we need to go softer and we need to get people's attention. We had a lecturer at the university. We about 200, 250 in the lecture room. When he wanted our attention, he started whispering and we stopped talking and trying to zone in. So loud and soft is very important. You need to vary your speech. You need to vary the volume to get the message across effectively. The pace, how fast you speak, how slow you speak. In excited moments, we go faster. If you try to describe something very distinctly and clearly, you want to go slower, you go slower. Also, it's a question of varying your speed and the pace at which you speak. And that also carries across the message. We had a lot of people running down the road and suddenly they stopped and they stared and they wondered. They looked back, but there was nothing. Right? Just as per example. Pitch, high and low, and then it grew darker and darker and darker. But suddenly, there was a light. It was up there. Again, how it creates a sort of a tapestry, a sound tapestry in your speech. Inflection, variation to add meaning. What do you think? What do you think? Going up at the end of a question, I know what you think. Going down at the end of a sentence. Interestingly enough, in the American context, I find a lot of Americans, when they speak, at the end of the sentence, even if it's a statement, they go up. And to me, it is disturbing because our culture is different. At the end of a sentence, you go down. If it's a question, you go up. But vary your inflection in your speech making. A vocalization sounds with shh. Listen. Now I know. But this is really lovely. Those vocalizations can also add some color to your speech. This is something that we tend not to use effectively. We tend to use it when we don't know what to say. Silences can be very dramatic. A pause can be very important. And if you pace your speaking, you can build in silences as dramatic pauses to create thinking spaces for people, to create what I call listening gaps for them, just to assimilate what you've said, to think about it before you continue. But at the same time, it creates spaces for you also to think, to work out a response, to think of an example. And this is a very, very important technique in speech making, even in talking. Well, we said it creates impact, and we've said that, so we need to. I saw this term somewhere, and it is the opposite of influences, stuff that has positive influences on your speech. This is non-fluencies, and I thought it sounded rather smart. It breaks the flow. Sometimes it's a mannerism, it just breaks the flow and it breaks the speech. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You don't know, please tell me. This also breaks the flow. These little fillers that you put in. Sometimes it's mannerisms, sometimes it's not good preparation. On the verbal level, word choice is, as we know, very important. We have the word plan. We've worked out a plan. I will plan my life, or I will map my life, or I will structure my life, or I will plan the trip, or I will prepare the trip. All different words, but with different feelings. If you use map, it speaks from the background of geography, and we get the vision of a map and how you go en route on this map. And the different points in your life can become different places as you use the map. Structure is a feeling from the world of building, and you see how you structure your life as the building goes up. So it depends on what the feeling is that you want to put across. And one will be very sensitive and tuned in to the words that you use, because words create pictures, and these pictures create contexts in the minds of the listener. This touches on to what we call word families to create coherence. For example, if you were to say, we were marching through the streets, we were on a drill, proceeding towards the target, saluting the bystanders. So you've got words in there like marching, we've got the drill, we've got target, we've got saluting. And all those terms come from a war theme, an army theme. And so you create that backdrop. One could also say, for example, we were dancing through the streets, gliding, approaching the climax, waving at the bystanders. And this is a very different feel. We have this whole notion of dancing, gliding, climax, and waving. It's more from the arts, from the dramatic arts, from dancing. And you can see the difference in the text. But it becomes incoherent and sort of very crunchy when you were to say, we were marching through the streets, waving at the people, and gliding along, saluting them. I mean, the words just don't match. And sometimes we don't look back at the text and see, are these words from what I call the same theme or same word families? Because that in itself creates a picture and a setting. And one must be very careful about that kind of thing. Then technical terms, we have to cogitate about these matters, think. I think is a better word. I'll scratch my head when I say cogitate as well there, Benteng. We talk about catharsis or cleansing. Which one are you going to use? And so your audience will determine the density of the text of the words that you use. If a lot of medical people come together, they use terms that I can't even dream of. But if my medical doctor friend talks to me, he uses terms that I can relate to. And so we must look at the density of the text, and if the context, the audience allows us to use these terms or not. So you'll see our DNA thing is just falling apart. Here's all these trends coming from our DNA thing. So keep your body, voice, DNA together. Keep it intact. Remember that you are the message. Do you read me? Do you read me? At this point, colleagues and friends, are there any questions or comments?
Thank you, Dr. Vincent. I think the first person I want to invite to question or comment must be Mukesh. Mukesh, you want to learn more about public speaking. So the first thing to do is to speak.
Yeah, like okay, I had a question. I use sometimes a lot of fillers, and how do we overcome that? Like using fillers, like sometimes using connectors becomes a problem to me. Like, and so I use a lot of so. So how do we overcome that? Is there any strategy or something like that?
There are two things that are important. The one thing that is important is what you've just done. You've identified that you use a lot of fillers. So it's an awareness of using a lot of fillers. And so when you speak, get a friend of yours to make ticks whenever you use a filler.
Okay.
And after your speech, discuss with him, say, how many fillers have I used? Secondly, in preparing your speech, talk to a friend, talk to somebody. And as soon as you use a filler, it doesn't advance the speech. You must just put up his hand and indicate. And gradually you'll become aware of the fillers and begin to use fewer and fewer of those. It's a practice over time. It's a mannerism, and a mannerism is something that you've learned. It's a manner that you've picked up.
Yeah.
which means that you can unlearn it, right?
Okay. Yeah. And one more thing about the pace as well. How many words is it good to speak in a minute? Like, is there any standard thing like 100 words per minute or something like that?
No, no, there's a standard thing. It's just a question you need to learn to pace yourself. You must understand that it is the responsibility of the speaker to help the listener understand, right? And especially when you speak to younger people, when you speak to people from a different culture, from a different group, you need to slow down your speech. Again, it's important to speak to 2 or 3 people and ask them to comment on your pace. Some people speak fast naturally. I speak fast naturally. So I've got to check myself, right?
Okay.
But you need to become aware of that. And if you, and I get a sense that you speak rather fast, but I think it's a thing with Indian people. A lot of my family speak like that. To speak slowly, rather slower than faster. And again, it's practice. What helps is when you read to people, try to read slower rather than faster. It comes with practice. It's a learned thing, it can be unlearned.
Yeah, maybe I should work on my pace and the fillers, I think. I should slow down a bit. And then,
When you talk to your girlfriend, to your wife, just ask them to listen. But I mean, when this guy's with his girlfriend, he speaks very fast, né? But okay, but again, people that are close to you, get them to comment on that in a positive way and gradually work on it. It's a work of life. Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Mukesh. I got an idea for you to consider. I know you are looking for how to improve your public speaking skill. You can contact Mike Nicholson. He has many clubs, and you can learn, you can participate and learn together with him. And also you can contact who else here? No, where is the ET? ET is no more in the room. ET, are you here? I'll give you ET's contact.
Yeah,
ET
okay.
is from Indonesia. He is with a Toastmasters club. You can always ask him for to let you participate in his club meeting. They also have Zoom meetings as well. So
Okay.
because for public speaking, you really need to participate and to receive feedback. Right, that's what we are doing now with Dr. Vincent. Okay.
Yeah, got it.
Okay. Yeah, now I'll open the floor. Anybody else have any question for clarification or whatever you want to know from Dr. Vincent? If not, I will invite our wise old man in the room, Mr. Mike Nicholson.
I'm just unmuted. Thank you so much, Dr. Vincent. That really was very clear. And I think there are many things in there that I will use, if you don't mind, in spreading the word. Because as you say, it's very simple if we know what we're doing. Exactly. And we just follow the recipe that people like yourself are developing. So there's no need to be scared, being on screen, having a visual, verbal, I'd say, is only 7%, but 55% visual, is really.
May I say something? Oh, sorry.
Of course, you may.
Yes, yes, I really enjoyed that, Dr. Vincent. And then I wanted to ask you about the pace and pitch. It's when people speak, it's something that gets me excited and interested. So pace is something that I see they vary greatly, and also the pitch. And again, pace is something that's easier to work on, while pitch, I find it harder. Is there something that you can say about that?
You see, again, first of all, it's an awareness of your pitch. To work on yourself and your pitch would be to record yourself.
Yes.
And then to listen back. Yeah, listen critically and see how you can do it differently. The voice that you hear when you speak is not the voice that we hear when you speak to us.
That's true.
When you record yourself and you listen back, then you hear your voice that we hear. The other trick that we do is when you want to hear the voice that you do is you keep your hands in front of your ears like this, and then you
Okay.
speak. The voice that you hear then is the voice that you more or less hear on the recording. If you take it
I
away,
see.
then you hear a different voice. So to check your
Okay.
pitch, you can do this. And you can speak and you can listen to your pitch and you go into the recording. This is the voice that we hear. I do some radio
Okay.
work. And the first time I heard myself on the radio, I said to my wife, but that's not me. I don't speak like that. She said, but that's what I hear all the time. I'm glad you can also hear it. Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Dr. Vincent, I want you to talk to us about one comment you make or one point you made. You are the message.
Mhm.
Do you remember that part? Can you
Yes, I
elaborate
do.
on that a little bit?
Yes, yeah. In South Africa, many, many years ago, we had when we still had the apartheid regime, we had a chap called P.W. Botha. And he was very oppressive. And I spoke at a meeting, one of these political meetings, and I asked them, what would you do if this chap, he's our Hitler, to just give you an idea. What would you do if this Botha chap or this Hitler chap would come into this meeting and say to you, you are very special people. You are very blessed, and I wish you all the best for your lives. What would you do? One voice, they said, we'll chuck him out because we can't believe that message. He's a dictator. So the person is the message. And if the person is incredible, the message won't be credible. If the person isn't sincere, you can pick up the insincerity, and that will damage the message. So the way you project yourself as a person, the way you present yourself as a person, immediately creates the context, the credibility, and the feasibility of your message. So we must be very sensitive to that and aware of that. Your whole life that you live is the message of the who and what you are that carries across in what you speak. And so you can easily pick up if somebody's not sincere. If that makes sense, man.
Make a lot of sense, Doctor. Yeah, the
Thank
way
you.
you presented it is like so natural, so logical, so simple. I'm glad I've recorded this. Then I'll post it on YouTube. Then we can watch it again and again because it is too many things to absorb and remember over the longer term. We got to watch it again. Okay. Is there anybody who wish to share some feedback? Okay. Now, okay, is there any closing remarks, Dr. Vincent?
Well,
Before
all I can say is thank you very much. I hope that I've served you well. And I thought I'd put this on the slide and say she.
Thank you, thank
Namaste.
you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Vincent.
My pleasure. Namaste. Okay.
Thank you. Now, the next speaker is Mark. Mark Chan. Can you hear me? Mark.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Are you ready?
I like to share screen.
Sure, you
Please
can.
do.
Hold on. Let me unshare the screen. How do I do that? Hold on.
Yep.
Dr. Vincent have to unshare first.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
unshared.
Okay.
Okay, while you're setting
There
up,
we are.
Mark, I want you to introduce yourself. I think you've done that, but I want you to introduce again from the perspective of the speech that you're going to present, your background, and also introduce a topic. Why is this topic relevant to us? Why is it important we listen to you tonight? Okay, so you got 2 minutes starting from now.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Mark. I'm a retired church pastor of the Seventh-day Adventist Church for 28 years. As you know, Seventh-day Adventist Church members are very health conscious. We used to run a Youngberg Hospital at Upper Serangoon Road. And our hospital is the only hospital that serves plant-based food to the patients. And they are usually meant to supply all the health messages together with Western treatment. So I am converted through the preaching of the health message by a very powerful evangelist. And I never forget what he told me. People will not remember all the points that you give. After 1 or 2 weeks, they only retain less than 10% of the content. But when you tell a story, it connects to the heart. So that's why I believe speaking to connect is very important. I joined Toastmasters way back in 2003 for 15 years. So I was still pastoring a church, and my members feedback to me that before joining Toastmasters, my preaching, my messages were very conceptual. But after I joined Toastmasters, the feedback was my preaching was very engaging. And they remember my messages for a long, long time. So I am convicted, speaking to connect rather than speaking to inform is more important. Because you want people to retain the message that you have for them. Okay, that's the end of my introduction. I'm ready to speak.
Thank you, Mark. Your slide, can you put on the full screen?
Okay, speaking to
wait,
connect.
before you start, do you need any assistance for your timekeeping, or you are able to keep time yourself?
I can keep time myself.
Okay.
It's easier for me. Let me set the timer first.
Sure. So I'll hand it over to Mark Chan, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Speaking to connect, before you realize that they are actually, from my opinion, it's just from my experience, there are more than that. There are 3 levels of speech. The first level is speaking to inform, which Toastmasters have a special manual, advanced manual on that. Okay, you're supposed to do a research. You're supposed to inform people. And I can assuredly tell you, none of the information that you learn probably 10 years ago that your fellow Toastmasters have spoken, you will remember. Speaking to inform is to connect from mind to mind. So it's knowledge driven. Speaking to connect is from heart to heart. That means you talk to people as a friend. It opens up your heart and mind to people. Because at the end of the speech, you really want people to make a decision. And most of the time, the decision is based on an emotional decision rather than just a cognitive only. For example, what's his name when he spoke? Dr. Vincent, is it? He said you are actually, people see you as a speech. So there must be a buy-in of the speaker. There must be a buy-in of your content and of your story and then make a decision based on whether they like you as a person. So speaking to connect is very important. So speaking to inspire is another level where you have information, you have the techniques, and then you have stories, and then you have the techniques to speak from heart to heart. So this is a very important. It will lead heart and mind to transformation. So these are the 3 levels. Now, how to do it? Before that, we will learn about the advantages of speaking to connect. Those people who speak to connect, they are not just interested in providing information. Speaking to inform is to tell people what you know. It is actually a messenger-oriented speech. Whereas speaking to connect is a listener-oriented platform, where you put yourself as a listener and learn how they listen. So you understand their profile, their level of education, their interests, their hobbies, and what makes them tick. It also involves their prejudices and as well as the range of vocabulary. So when you speak to connect, you don't use bombastic words. Okay? You use simple language. If you were to use bombastic words, you have to explain what it means in the next sentence. So it holds attention. And then people will remember what you have shared. People don't remember points, but people remember stories. And then it creates interest in the subject. And then it will, later on, when they are interested in what you have to say, they begin to adopt or even accept the agenda, the service, and the product which you are about to share. So this is very important when you speak to connect. Now let's go into the how. There are a few points that is very important to take note. Tell concise stories. Nobody is interested in you telling from A to Z or from Genesis to Revelation. Okay, capture their attention within 3 seconds. 2 months ago, I went for the Skills Future training on how to use TikTok. The trainer says, do you know there are so many video messages that come by? If you don't hold people's attention within 3 seconds, they will just swipe you away. So tell concise stories and not more than 2 minutes per point. And then how to tell it concisely is to tell the conclusion first. You notice in Facebook or Instagram, when you have a story, they will tell you the main point of the message. So to get your attention, so that you will not swipe them away, you'll be interested to find out what leads to the conclusion. Okay. So the old method of reading a novel is to read chapter 1, chapter 2, and then the conclusion. Now it's not like that. Now they tell you the conclusion, the exciting part. And then that will motivate you to listen on, to read on, to watch on. Because that will hold people's attention. Nowadays, people's attention span is very short. So it has to be concise. Short sentences, short answers. And then the second method to speak, to connect, is to relate your personal experience with a twist. For example, a lady, she has its own experience. She informed me into a video. She said she bought a bag of cookies from the airport. It was special discount. So this bag of cookies, she bought it while waiting to board the airplane. She decided to start eating the bag of cookies. Lo and behold, there's a man sitting beside her and start getting into her bag of cookies. She thought, how rude. So as he began to dig into her bag to eat the bag of cookies, she quickly grabbed into the bag and take the piece of cookies until the bag of cookies were finished. And before the bag of cookies were finished, there's a last piece of cookie. The man smiled at her and said, "Why don't I share with you?" She broke the last piece of cookie and he ate the half and gave her to the other half. And she was thinking, what audacity this man has. Taking my bag of cookies without permission and start eating, and with the last piece of cookie, tear it into two and say sharing with me. How dare he? Then later on, when she was about to board the plane, lo and behold, she realized that her bag of cookies was actually beside her. The bag of cookies that she started to eat or share with that man actually belongs to the man. Okay, this is a personal experience with a twist, and it was, told in the form of a powerful story. So the moral of the lesson is don't jump into conclusion. Always give people a benefit of a doubt. Don't always think that you are right. Now you can tell people this conclusion, but if you don't tell it in the form of story, people will not remember. So personal experience, personal testimonies on an event, on an experience will create an impression that will last a long, long time. And then it's very important to ask questions because you don't just lecture. You need to interact with your audience by asking questions. The most powerful teacher, the greatest teacher in the Bible is Jesus. If you were to read the 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Jesus always taught in parables, which are stories, as well as asking questions. Like, for example, he asked his disciples, "What do men say I am?" And the Pharisees and those who hated him wanted to test him. Should we pay tax to Caesar or to God? And then he said, "Show me the coin." Who is inscribed in this coin? He said, "Caesar." Then he said, "Render to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Render to God what belongs to God." So asking question is very important. It protects you. It interacts with your audience. So there are actually 3 types of questions, although there will be more. I'm just, it's not exhaustive. I'm just highlighting a few. Number 1 will be rhetorical questions. So rhetorical questions are important, which you don't need an answer. Like, for example, we all want happiness, don't we? Then you will expect the audience to nod their heads and say, "Of course." Then they are ready to listen to your presentation of what is happiness, what gives happiness. Because they are ready. You are prompting them, you are priming them for receiving that message. And number 2, you can ask interactive questions by them showing a response by raising their hands. For example, how many of you have been disappointed by your trusted friends? Can I see a show of hands? Then they will raise their hands. If you have, then you can start to tell, do you know, we have to lower our expectation because we are human. Okay. But if you just give a lecture, nobody will understand. But once you interact with them, they are ready to listen. So interactive questions are very important. And then the third form of question, which I think is a leading question because you have an agenda, you have a motive, you have a purpose. For example, you want to talk about Singapore being a very expensive place. Before you let the cat out of the bag, you want to ask a question. For example, you can ask, what is one of the smallest countries that starts with the letter S? Then people will say, oh, Singapore. Which premium airline starts with S? SIA. Could you name the most powerful passport that starts with S? Oh, Singapore passport. Then you begin to talk about why Singapore is expensive, why it is safe. Why do you pay a high price to stay in Singapore? Why people choose to stay in Singapore in spite of its being the most expensive city in the world? So it's very important to ask questions. And number 4, in every speech, as far as you can, inject humor. Okay, it is humor that causes the heart. You know, when people laugh, it is the best medicine. Do you know when you laugh, it's like internal jogging. Your heart begin to beat and you secrete endorphin, which is a happy hormone. And people do learn by incidents and eventful speech where you have a laugh point or a punchline. I used to join Business Network International, and I'm known as a person who is very good in pun. What is a pun? That means that a word can be used both ways. For example, you can ask a person, when you talk about fatigue, would you rather be exhausted or tired? Maybe I ask the audience. I think it's very good to inject humor as well as interaction. Can someone answer me? Those who already know what I'm trying to say, no need to answer. Those who have not heard that question before, can I have your answer? Can we ask Sonia? Yeah, Sonia. Can you answer the question? Would you rather be exhausted or tired?
Neither. Can I say that?
No, you have to choose one.
Tired.
You have to be tired. Okay, I asked Dr. Vincent.
I prefer not to be either of those, but to humor you, I'd also rather just be tired.
Okay. A lot of people will choose to be tired, but I choose to be exhausted. Anyone wants to ask me why?
Explain.
Why?
Very easy. I say if you go behind the car, you smell the exhaust of the car, you get exhausted. But if you go in front of the car, you get tired. Which one is more dangerous? And then some people choose to be retired. First time it doesn't kill you, the second time will. So I choose to be exhausted. At least I still got hope. But when they are tired, it's very dangerous. So you inject this humor. Humor needs not be factual. Okay? Humor can be dramatic, can be exaggerated, and yet it causes people to laugh. They call it a tongue-in-cheek expression. So a speech need not be serious all the time, you know. For example, another pun will be, a man has 30 cows, 28 chickens. How many didn't? Have you heard that question before?
No.
Bumping, can you answer that question? A man has 30 cows, 28 chickens. How many didn't?
I got no idea. I got no idea. How many
Okay,
didn't?
give up. Anyone give up?
How many didn't what?
Exactly. It's a pun. Okay. I repeat, a man has 30 cows, 28 chickens. How many didn't?
I don't understand the pun.
Okay, I'm coming to it. There's sometimes pun need not to be understood, but when it explained, it's funny. Listen, a man has 30 cows, 20 of them eat chickens. How many didn't?
2.
Cows don't
No.
eat chickens.
10. 28 chickens.
Oh,
You got it? A man has 30 cows, 28 chickens. How many didn't? 10, 10 didn't eat. So right now you have a good laugh. It's time for me to tell a story about raising cows. Okay? Raising chickens. The second kind of humor is one-liner. Okay, one-liner is very humorous. For example, many years ago, when I went to China, we had a networking dinner. One of my friend, his name is Ryan. He's very, but by the way, everybody was an entrepreneur. We are supposed to bring guests to this networking dinner. So my friend Ryan said, Mark, come and meet my guests. Then when I look at his guests, I also brought guests. Then I said, your guess is as good as mine. So I'm using pun. Okay? Your guess is as good as mine. So you brought guests, I also brought guests. So this is a one-liner. This is also a pun. So it's a duplicate. And then not only that, when you go to an elevator, somebody let off gas. And then somebody in the crowded lift let off gas and say, oh dear, who let off gas? Then then you can turn to the person and say, your gas is as good as mine. Okay, it's a pun. And then later on, you look at the person who really let off gas, you say the same thing. Your gas is as good as mine. And then there is also a witty humor where you tell a very short story. For example, I share a story about my wife being a professional headhunter. Her ancestors were headhunters. So when Christianity came to the village, her grandfather gave up the headhunting ways. So she went into Coopers and Lybrand, later on become PricewaterhouseCoopers. She joined the executive recruitment department, also called headhunting. So I said my wife continued her ancestor trait. She just did it more professionally, that's all. She's a professional headhunter. Then I said, I was headhunted to be her husband. But I'm still alive because I'm a living sacrifice. So this is a witty story. Then you can talk about your marriage, your happy marriage, talk about your wife. That's how you start, inject humor. And then another way to speak to connect is to compare the logic with new knowledge. For example, life is not a race. It is a journey. Race is to see who wins. No, life is not like that. Life is not competing who gets more money. Life is actually walking towards a destination, fulfilling your purpose at your own pace, at your own time. So it's very good to use common logic with a new knowledge. Okay, use parables, stories. Like, for example, the parable of the wise man who built his house on the rock, compared to a foolish man who built his house on the sand. So laying foundation on everything that you do is very important. So when you lay a foundation, it takes time to build a foundation. But you want to build a hasty house without foundation, it will collapse. Then you can talk about the love of money is the root of all evils because people want shortcut to success. So by telling this story is very important, using parables. And then you can also use taglines. For example, I'm a liver detox specialist. I help people purge out gallstones. So my tagline is, I shall leave no stone unturned. I mark, for I deliver, because I'm a liver detox specialist. I take out things from the liver. Okay, use taglines. People will always remember taglines. And number 8, use wise sayings. For example, wise sayings is something that is very catchy that people will remember. For example, a drop of polluted water will contaminate a glass of water. A drop of pure water will not purify a glass of contaminated water. So you talk about the influence, the negative influence that drugs and smoking, as well as gangsterism, vaping, alcoholism, smoking, and all this, you can talk about it. It's not easy to teach people to be good. There's a Chinese saying, to do good, you need 3 years. To do bad, within 3 days. Wise sayings, powerful. It's an opener. Last but not least, it's very important to talk about metaphors. When I was a pastor of a Chinese church more than 30 years ago, I preached a gospel on durian because it was durian season. Then I compared durian and the gospel. I said durian and the gospel, they are the same. Why? Because some people like durian, some people dislike durian. Okay? So I assume that not everybody here today like durian. What about my brother Mike Nicholson? Does he like durian?
With a passion. I was brought up in Singapore.
Okay. So you like durian?
Absolutely.
Okay. Some of the Caucasians in America, they dislike it. They think it's what do you
Smelly.
call that? Fermented garlic.
Yeah.
Okay. Or
That's
smelly
a polite
sauce.
way.
So that day I preached about durian and the gospel. What happened was I said durian is not an attractive fruit, but when you open it, a lot of people like it, the taste, the smell. And then when you eat durian, your neighbors will know. So that when the gospel come into your life is changed. You don't speak vulgar language. You become a man of integrity. Okay. And then when the durian comes into you, you smell durian, your breath smell durian, your bodily discharge have durian smell. So your whole life is changed. Durian has to be presented nicely. It cannot be thrown to people. So the gospel is the same. So I have people telling me, hey, Mark, I remember your durian sermon 30 years ago. Okay, the succinct points that you have drawn, the illustration, I always remember. So using metaphors, using parables, using all these multiple or complicity of these points, wise sayings, pun, humor, concise, stories, personal experience with a twist, all this play a point in speaking to connect. Once you speak to connect, you're connecting with people's emotions. So when you call for action, they are ready to accept. That's the end of my presentation.
Thank you, Mark. I like your presentation very much. And if you don't mind, I will use one of the many things you share very soon. A farmer have 30 cows.
28 chickens.
28 chickens. How many are there?
Didn't. How many didn't?
How many didn't? Yeah, I will remember this. Okay, I think it's really amazing, the many different things to share. Now let us invite feedback from our audience. Who want to go first? Aaron, you posted something. Talk to us.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for inviting me. I think the most important thing I learned from Mark is very important to structure the speech, having different areas of taking into consideration the audience, and most of all, what are we targeting and what is the result. I think tonight I learned from Mark is that at the end of the day, is the gospel, church related, and very importantly, how do we train ourselves to be ethical, peace-minded. I like the one Duran because Duran and gospel is what he said, quite true. It's hard to get, very hard to touch, but you have to go for it. Thank you.
Angel, welcome back. Is there some feedback you want to share? Some observations?
Yeah, for Marcel, you say about in humor, right? And I want to ask you, is the audience no one love? What do you think?
If you can take out your mask and speak, it's better because I cannot hear what you are saying.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but it's very muffled.
Yeah. For example, if you speak humorous, right, and the audience listen to you and understand, but actually the audience no one love, and they think your joke is not funny. What do you think?
I still don't understand. I still cannot get it.
Oh, Mark, what I think I understand from Angel is when you speak, you share a joke, right? Something funny, and you are expecting a response from the joke. But sometimes the audience do not respond to your joke. Then what?
Okay, very good question. We should not tell a joke for the sake of telling a joke. Okay, that's one. I think if you just tell a joke for the sake of telling a joke, is not the intention of speaking to connect. The purpose of the joke is to create an interest in your subject. So whether they will laugh or not is not important. At least they think about it. They thought about it. That's one. Second, a joke, some people will get it, some people don't. Okay, some people can relate, some people don't. Okay. So a joke is not necessarily a humor. There's a difference between a humor and a joke. Okay, humor, you can present something serious in a humorous way. There's a twist. That is not a joke. Okay. And lastly, you need to rehearse your humor with somebody else first. For example, your wife, your spouse. And if it's funny, you tell it. Okay. And if it's not funny, it will sometimes become anticlimax. I agree with you.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, Dr. Vincent, you want to ask something?
I just wanted to add and make a little comment. One of the most difficult genres in speaking is humor, is telling jokes. Simply because jokes are culture bound. So what is funny in one culture is not funny in another culture. What can be said in one culture cannot be said in another culture. So the important thing is, I think, that you must know your audience and speak to the audience. Then you wouldn't have that challenge as much as it might arise in another context. So it is culture conscious. And then we must bear that in mind, Angelina. The other thing, just to Mark, thank you again for that very insightful and informative talk. But from a, let's say from a pastoral perspective, you having been a pastor, when the example of a little dirt can contaminate a glass of pure water, it's good. But a little drop of pure water cannot cleanse a glass of dirty water. On the human level, it is fine and it is stunning. But on the spiritual level, because you know better than me, that what Christ did most of the time, he turned everything on its head. He challenged the reigning culture and teaching. And so in the context of Christianity, that doesn't wash, because Christ was just a little drop Peter and John and Paul and these guys were little drops in the oceans of contaminated thinking. And that little group converted the whole of the world. So from that aspect, you can even turn it on its head and say, but if we look at it differently, we'll see the power of the little drop. And you yourself, as Mark Chan, you are a little drop. And you have dropped into our midst and you've changed our thinking. And I thank you for that. Thank you.
You're very good, Dr. Vincent, and you brought up a very important analogy of this drop of water. Sometimes wise sayings can do both ways. Without Christ, a drop of dirty water, a drop of clean water will not cleanse the contaminated water. But with Christ, I can do all things.
Wow.
So there is two sides. Okay.
Yep.
On one hand,
Precisely.
Without Christ, I can't do anything. With Christ, I can do all things.
Therefore, Mark, we must become Christ for one another.
Yeah.
We must become justified. Then we become the drops.
Very good. I like your feedback.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vincent. That is profound. That's really good. Okay, is there anyone else who want to ask a question or shares? I think there was a question in the chat box. Okay, it says, there are so many ways to engage. Which is the most universal and applicable to most situations? That was the question.
You want me to answer?
Yes, please.
I won't say there is one, because there are many situations. It depends, number one, on your audience. So before a person speaks, you must find out who are your audience. Know their profile, their educational level. Okay, are they serious people? Or are they happy-go-lucky? Are they sociable? Are they task-oriented? So what is the target audience? It's very important. So there is no one size fits all. Of course, you have to be sensitive to the audience. For example, in a church, when you inject humor, some people say you are trivializing the message. So the humor has to be witty. It cannot have any sexual innuendos or cannot have any political overtures. Okay, because some people are very sensitive about these two things. So it takes practice to tell a joke or humor, and it's good to have a mentor to guide you. Okay, that's why every time when I give a message, I ask people to give me feedback. And one of the reasons why I joined Agora is because there is feedback. I've been a speaker for so many years. I realized that the biggest room is the room for improvement. And nobody is a perfect public speaker. So we grow day by day.
Thank you, Mark. Mukesh, there's an opportunity for you to practice your public speaking again. Say something.
Yeah, I really don't have any questions on this. Yeah, so pretty much not many questions.
If no question, you must say which part you like, why you like it.
So yeah, one thing I like is speaking to connect. Normally when I speak, it is more on informing, speaking to inform. But I want to change my dialogue from speaking to inform to speaking to connect through these storytelling, personal experiences. So yeah, I'll probably try to implement more of that as I go forward. Yeah.
Thank you. I think Dr. Vincent, did you raise a hand? Yeah, please. Thank you, Mukesh.
Yeah, thank you.
Just three things. I agree with Mark Chand when he says you've got to know your audience and you've got to know where you are. I think that is the second thing we need to know from my perspective. I just want to call from Hamlet. Hamlet says, written by Shakespeare, obviously, to your own self be true. So the first thing you need to know yourself. And yourself and your personality will determine your speaking style and the way that you engage. And if you're true to yourself, then you must be true to the audience. And then I agree with you wholeheartedly, know your audience, know the context. But again, you are the message. The audience receives the message and the way you project. So to your own self, be true. So you must find your own speaking style, your own speech-making style. And that becomes just personal way of speaking. We can't become somebody else. I can't speak like Sean. I can't speak like James or like Chen or like Mark or whoever. I've got to speak like me. I've got to find me, find my soul, find my being, and then hone that in the way that put the message across. That's the one thing. The second thing, very interesting. I don't want to make this a debate between Chen and myself, but I'd like to engage with him at some stage. It is very interesting when he talks about, for example, politics. I come from a country where we have been oppressed by a regime. And it was important for the church to take a stand because the church has a social teaching, and Catholics, so we have a rich social teaching. And consistently, the church had to challenge the government. Apartheid is wrong. Discrimination is wrong. Oppressing people is wrong. There was a time when the church was banned in South Africa. The Catholic Church was banned in South Africa because it told a message that is contrary to the message of the government. We have this in all countries. In many countries in your side of the world, Christianity has been banned. People have been persecuted. And the history of persecution runs rich in Christianity. It's steeped in blood. So we need to stand up and talk. And I want to come back to your example where you said about the coin. Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and unto Christ or to the Lord or to God what is God's. The question is, what happens when there is a conflict in interest between Caesar and God? When Caesar assumes what belongs to God, then you need to take a stand. But just my input there, but I don't want to make this a debate. Maybe you and I need to have a chat at some stage. I find this very exciting and interesting, but thank you.
Okay, the time has come for the wise old man in the room to share some observations. Mike Nicholson, please.
Thank you for giving me the accolade. I know my hair's gray, but don't worry about it. Okay, so I thought that was a really good presentation. Again, lots of good information there to use. Well, one of the things that came back to me was we all like to do business with people we like. So the affability is really important. Yeah, making the connection at a personal level with the audience is really quite important. Yeah, they need to be on your side for them to listen to what you're going to say. So if you come in hostile, they will be also hostile. So again, I think there's a lot of preparation we need to do before we deliver speeches. You refer to, knowing the age of the audience, the educational background, etc. So we, as a speaker, we need to do our homework and deliver the speech that this audience needs. Yeah, that makes an impact on their lives. But it was really, really good. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. And Peng, maybe for a future meeting, we can have Shona and Dr. Vincent do the debate. Let's make that the theme of the meeting. Yeah.
I beg your pardon. A debate on what in particular?
Give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God, or something around that.
Oh, okay, good theme. Thank you. Yeah, that would be quite, I think, yeah, I would like to be around for that. It will be rousing.
Good, you'll be part of it.
Bumping, you are
can show
muted.
this team.
Bumping, you're muted. Bumping, you're muted.
I'm not, am I?
Bumping wants to
My
speak,
voice
but
is
muted.
Imam, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, our friend from Indonesia, long time have not connected with you. How are you? Can you talk to us? I see there's two of you sign in. Where are you now?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
can, Iman.
welcome. We miss you.
Thank you. Sorry for coming late. I just got home. I got some problem with my laptop on the sound, so I can't hear anything. That's why I, put on my mobile for the sound.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So did
But
you
thank
manage
you.
to listen to the presentation?
Just on the discussion and a little bit at the end from the speaker. So I'm going to just observe. Thank you,
Okay,
Vivi.
welcome, welcome. I want to let you know that you are always welcome here.
Thank you.
And if you need more opportunity to participate in Indonesia, contact Mike Nicholson. He's the man in
certainly.
Indonesia.
Yeah,
Mike, do you know Imong?
of course.
Of
I
course,
think I've
yeah.
heard the name.
Yeah. Okay.
We are very well connected.
Okay, thank you. Now, where is Dunstan?
Yeah,
Dunstan.
you.
Oh,
Can you
we have
hear
got
me?
you. Okay.
You can
Are you
hear-
ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm sorry, my camera is still down, so it's okay. You just have to look at the slide. All right.
Okay.
Are we ready?
Yeah, you have 2 minutes. Introduce yourself, or do you prefer me to introduce you?
No, don't introduce me.
Okay, you introduce yourself because there are some new people in the room, so they may not know who you are, and also introduce the topic as well. You
By
may
the
share
way,
screen.
I send you 2 videos, right? Which I want you to play. Remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
When do you want me to play?
Well, I send you the. Remember, I send you the. Never mind. It is on the video out on the PowerPoint. I will say play video here. Then you play. Okay.
Wait. Play video here. Let me see which video. Hold on.
There too.
Yeah.
sent to you.
I remember. Now I'm looking for it. Okay.
The last. Okay.
There's one video I can see. Let me test and see whether it works. Okay, I've got it. I've got one, the black and white video, right?
That's the second one.
Second one. Let me look for the first one. Hold on.
To be or not to be.
The first one, is it a YouTube video?
Yeah, to be or not to be.
Okay, I think that's on YouTube, right? It's not a video clip. It's a.
I think both are YouTube. Anyway, you try. Okay.
Okay, I will do it. So you want to be or not to be first?
Yeah, I will tell you where. Because
Okay, sure.
send you the script with the
Okay,
marker.
sure.
You didn't see it.
Sure, I'm on
Okay.
standby.
Introduce myself. I think I know many of you here, and firstly, I have been involved in Toastmasters for a long time. I think it's a long time. It's a good word because 32 years or something like this. It's a long time. And with Agora, I'll go from the very beginning as well. For Agora, I've always been there. Right, that's about it. And I was trained as a lawyer, as a barrister, and I used to live in England. And when I retired, I came back to Malaysia, and that's what it is. So as a barrister, because we are trained to speak, and that was our job. I mean, our profession is to speak, right? And so when I came back here, I saw this club called Toastmasters Club, and I find that it's interesting. I should join them. So when I joined them, having lived half of my life in England, my friend was saying to me, why do you want to join a public speaking club in English public speaking club in Asia? And where English is not the first language of the people. And secondly, you're trained as a barrister in England. So why do you need to go for, I mean, we earn our living by speaking in court. So why do you need to go to a club like this, right? And I thought, yeah, it's true. It's strange because when I first joined the club, I find that it's true. I mean, I was wondering why I should be there, But I say this because I want to reply to, what's his name? The gentleman just, Mukesh, isn't it? Oh, yeah, Mukesh, yeah.
Mukesh.
Please, when I joined, so I said exactly, you are a barrister practicing a barrister in England, and you come to Asia to join a public speaking club in English of people who are speaking in a second language, And it sounds like contradiction. And I thought so at first. But having been in Toastmasters for many, many years, I realized that no matter where you are, you can always learn. And I learned a lot, right? A lot. And later on, of course, when Agora came up, and I also joined and also learned a lot. So that's the lesson is that you can never be too good to learn. And you have to always have a learning desire. I'm happy that I'm privileged to speak at the same time as Dr. Vincent and Pastor Mark, and they have shared with you a lot of tips about public speaking, right? Which is great. And so, in relation to Mukesh's point, how do I improve my public speaking skills? I would say this, all right? Let me share my screen first. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay. Now it's quite interesting because between the Pastor Mark and Dr. Vincent, and I myself, I suppose, we cover all the aspect of how to enhance our communication skills. Because we talk about verbal, we talk about vocal, and we talk about visual. And Mark talked about psychological aspect of when you speak, you want to touch their heart, you see. People remember how you make them feel, not what you told them, right? So we cover all that. Now, in relation to Mukesh's point just now, so how do I improve? Well, I would say this, between us at the moment, we are giving you a lot of tips, right? We say, this is how you do it. Let me tell you a story following Mark's the suggestion using a story. I have a friend, his name is Abeng, and he lives by the river. We have our city has a river right in the middle running through the river through the city. And his office is on the other side of the river where he lives. So which means every morning he has to cross the river. So he has this little canoe, we call it sampan, So he take this sampan across the river to his office, and he does that every day. Then his friend said, "Hey, Abeng, because we speak this style in Hokkien. Hey, Abeng, you cross the river every day, Do you know how to swim or not?" So Abeng said, "Oh, no problem. I don't have to swim because I have a very good boat, a very good canoe. It take me across, all right?" So one day, as he was crossing the river, a huge storm came, and the boat was taking in water, and they were bailing water out from the boat and panicking and all that. But thankfully, they managed to reach the other side. And then Abeng get on the shore on the other side, and he said, "Oh my gosh, I must learn how to swim because I have to cross the river every day," right? So from that day onward, he learned all the techniques of swimming. So he went to the library, he read every book on swimming. And by the time, after 3 months, he has perfect knowledge of the theory of swimming. So then, one day, as he was crossing the river, again, another huge storm came. And they were bailing water out from the boat. But Abeng was standing there and he said, "It's okay. I know everything about swimming, right? I'm not afraid." So he jumped into the river to go to the other side, and he was drowned. He died. So my point is this. You cannot learn how to swim by reading books. You cannot learn how to swim by not getting wet. You can only swim by getting wet. So to be a public speaker, to be a good public speaker, you can attend 100 seminars from us and we can give you tips, but you have to do it. And this is why clubs like Agora Club and Toastmasters Club is being formed, is to give you the opportunity to learn how to sing. It give you the opportunity to be wet so that you listen to the techniques we share with you, you practice it. You try it. Of course, you may not be perfect, but you try. I mean, Mark was suggesting how to tell jokes. You try, you know, and sometimes it works, but over years, you will find you'll improve. So my point again is that you cannot learn how to swim without getting wet. So you cannot be kind of a good public speaker if you never bother to give speeches, right? So that's it. All right, Langeline, is it? You put up your hand. Is there anything you want to say?
Yes.
Go
I
on.
do not often take part in public speaking
Yes.
because when I speak, like for example, yesterday I took part in table topics for
Yes.
the first time. Because the table topics master had enough topics for all of us, so I was forced to go up as the second last speaker. But when speaking, the points that I wanted to bring up, they were not in my mind, and
Yeah.
I went out of topic.
Never mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to
Even
the club. What I'm trying to say is that, okay, yeah. So you just have to do more speaking. You just have to do more. Yeah.
Is there like then it wouldn't really benefit people hearing you babble in your table topics because you had good, interesting, salient points. But
Yeah.
when you are there, is there a
Yeah.
way where like winning table topics, have you noticed a structure that they follow that is winning and consistently able to build on? Because
No, there's no technique.
there's
There's no technique which is 100% proof, all right? And you just have to keep on doing it. Do you know now it's Olympic, all right? Do you know that girl by the name of Guan Hongchan, right? Guan Hongchan, that little girl who died perfect. And do you think that she did the perfect dive by just jumping a few times in competition? She has been training since she was 7 years old, and she's now 17. So it's the same with public speaking. You can learn all the techniques, but you must apply the technique and test the technique out. That's why we have Agora's Club and Toastmasters Club, right? So the session we have here is more like educational session. We share with you certain techniques. I hope you try this technique out in all your speeches. I would say that. Let me go on now. Okay. Where am I? Okay, this is called vocal variety. I think Dr. Vincent has already talked about it, you see, in the sense that it's important that you don't want to speak in a monotone and people get falling asleep. So you want to have a variety, just like you go and sing karaoke. And if you go and read the words in monotone, people will, upset with you. So you must give it tune to it. So I'm going to share with you certain techniques which can give colors and excitement in your speech, right? So that it doesn't sound so monotonous. But why is this vocal variety is important? Let me show you this. This happened in Philippines, right? It was about more than 20 years ago or something like this. You don't have to read the text. I've summarized it on the right-hand side here. In two cases, one in Cebu City, the other one in Manila. Now, at that time, karaoke was getting very popular in Asia. So everywhere you go, people sing karaoke, and Filipinos love singing. The case in Cebu was there's somebody sang. Actually, he was singing that the very famous song called My Way, right? My Way. And he sang the song, but he sang it so badly that the audience couldn't stand it anymore, all right? And they snatched the microphone from him, and there was a fight, and the singer was being stabbed. The second case was in Manila a few months later, and at that time, this guy sang the song so badly that people start laughing. And he couldn't stand it, and he took out his gun, and he shot, and he killed one person, and wounded another. So what I'm saying here is this: you can have the best speech in the world. If you do not put a bit of wrath to it, it will be very boring. So for us, that's why we have this session of how to enhance your speech, right? And I'm going to deal with the voice only. Just now, Dr. Vincent and Mark talk about other aspects of how to enhance your speech, talking about voice. So very simply, it's like this. So it's not just what you have, your script, the verbal material you have, it's how you say it that makes it interesting. Right? How do you do that? I'm going to share with you these techniques, right? These are the 5-6 elements which you have to pay attention to in your speech. It's not one. What they call this? What's the term? How do they say? It's not just one. It's 6 of them together, right? So you have to practice it. Even if we do it now, but you have to practice it. So we start stress, volume, tempo, pitch, pause, and tone. And all this has been mentioned by our 2 speakers before. All right. So I'm just going to give greater detail in it. Now, we start from stress. English is a language of stress. Right? Now, Benping, can you play a video here? I don't know how you do it, but if you can.
Okay, when I play the video, I will unshare yours and share mine.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Just play the video.
Okay, I will now. Wait, yeah, I will share. Hold on. Share screen. Okay. Share sound. Okay.
Share video.
Wait, I got the. No, where's the video? Okay, I got the video now. This is the one, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Can you make it large? Good. Okay.
Is the sound coming through?
Yes.
To be or not to be. That is the question.
Sorry. I mean, yes. Yes, but if you don't mind a note, or. To be or not to be.
Try this. To be or not to be, that is the question.
Don't lose focus. To be or not to be, that is the question.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
To be or not to be.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
Okay. Thank you, Benping. All right. Can you yeah. Now I go and share mine. All right.
Oh, was the last person really Prince Charles?
Yes, king now. It's not prince, it's king.
Oh, wow.
And
It's not just a look-alike.
no. You love that. Huh? Okay. So why did I show you this? These are well-trained, experienced theater actors, all right? And you notice that they are, when they put the stress of the word in different words, of different part of the sentence, the meaning of the text changes. And that is first is the beauty of the language. Is that so? When you speak and you add in your vocal tone into it, it will change the way. So let's look at what they see. See, for example, the actual text is to be or not to be. That is the question. We can just say that. It is a bit boring. So an actor has been translated to be or not to be, which means different thing now. The next one is to be or not to be. Then you have to be or not to be. That is the question. Then you have to be or not to be. That is the question. To be or not to be. That is the question. And to be or not to be or not to be. Then, of course, King's Child said to be or not to be. That is the question. So you see, in a plain sentence like this, the way you place the stress, it changes the meaning. It enhances the meaning. So when you give your speech, it's the same. You have to do that. Now, what we do in, I mean, I don't know whether Sim Bok Seng is still here or not. I saw him just now. Sim, are you still here? No. Now, he has taken part in the World Speech Contest. I think he was placed somewhere. And one of the things for those of us who take part in speech contests at a high level, we actually prepare our script, not just the text. We actually mark the words in the text which we want to emphasize. So when you look at the competitors' script, it's not just plain script. No? They just mark so that they will make sure they punch the correct thing. Yeah. So this is one of the first thing you have to be aware of is how to enhance your speech. You see that, I give you this example, and it's changed the meaning of the sentence. The first one say, I didn't say you stole my bag. Now it means that somebody else may have said it. It carries that connotation. You see, I didn't. The other one said, I didn't say, right, that you stole my bag. And then that is, I did not say you stole my bag. It could be that I may have written about it. You see, I did not say you, so I may have said somebody else has stolen the bag. I did not say you stole. Yeah, that means you may have taken my bag, but you didn't steal. And you didn't say that you stole my bag. You could have stolen somebody else's bag. And then lastly, it says, I didn't say you stole my bag. That means you could have stolen my pen or something like this. So what I'm trying to share with you is the first thing we are aware of when we speak is that the stress of the words changes the meaning of the sentence. And you have to be aware of that, right? Of that. So that is the first thing we need to do. You have to practice this. You have to practice it in your speech. The second thing is volume. Of course, volume, you all know, I mean, the loud, soft, and all this kind of thing. I think Dr. Just now, Bosman has talked about it, volume. What I want to, let me show you this. How many of you know this musical, which was very famous in the 60s and now being performed again in China? It's called the Liu Sanjie, right? It's about the story of what this lady from that village. And why I put the river there is that in the rural, when they sing the folk song, they are able to project the voice, that's mean the volume, across the river. So for you as a speaker, you should learn how to project your voice across the room. But when we talk about volume, it's not just saying that loud, soft, there is a mental thing involved. I'll show you this. Imagine you're standing on the stage, right? And you want to raise your voice because that particular part, you want to have it loud. What you may do is that you look at the back of the stage. Now that's very far. Now, without you consciously saying, I want to speak loud, when you look far, your voice will just go up by itself. Just like the Liu Sanjie, the girls in China, when they want to sing loud across the river, they throw their voice. We used to say, throw our voice, right? So as a speaker, you want to do that. Now here is the relationship between eye contact and volume. And this is why it is always recommended that when you speak, you have eye contact with different people in the room. That's why if you have attended lectures before, our professor will sit up there and he open the notes and he will read the notes. No matter how expressive it is, because he never looked up, his voice sooner or later become monotone. But for us as speakers on stage, when you look far, without you knowing it, your voice will go up. All right. If you look near, your voice will go down. So there is a relationship between eye contact and volume. So that it is not artificially loud that you're standing there and somebody is standing 2 feet away and they say, you are very something. No, instead you look far. Right? So that is volume. Tempo, somebody mentioned tempo just now. Well, tempo, speed, right? And what is tempo really? Now it is related. Wait a minute. It's speed, right? Tempo. Sometimes it relates to the other thing called pitch, which I'll deal with it later on. Now I want to show you this. Now what is this? A football game. All right. Now imagine if you are the commentator for this game. And if you just listen, or you're a listener to a radio without having the visual thing, from his voice, you can know roughly where the ball is. Because when you speed up your tempo, you tend to be excited. So if the ball is around the penalty area, you can hear him speaking faster, and the pitch is higher. Now, if the ball is in the middle of the field, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start our second half. And Bobby is going to kick the ball, to his left side. Then suddenly when it gets to the critical area, his voice automatically will change and it becomes very, very fast. So for you, it's the same when you tell your story, when you give your speech, when you're at a critical moment, you automatically speed up to get that momentum in it. So that's something which you got to take care of. Pitch is always related to tempo, right? Now, those of you who have done some training in acting and all these things where they teach your voice, there's a term we used to call high stake. So when they want you to appear angry, right, or arguing, so I'll show you this. Actually, this guy, I just put him in there because if some of you are interested, you can check him out. He is called Dinesh. He has the best voice in the world at the moment. He has a pitch which is so high, and he has an octave, of about 6 octaves or something like that. Well, I want to show you this. Can you see this? I don't know many of you are Hokkien or not, right? In Hokkien, if you argue with somebody and you are getting very, very hot, we say that angkun kin tit, meaning the muscle and the vein on your neck can show up, So it's the same. Pitch and tempo are related. When you get very, very excited, your voice will become high and your throat looks like this. And if you just look around from now on, when people are arguing, you can see from that. Tone, right? Tone is something very important and is being touched on just now. Can you play, Ban Peng, play the video now? You see what I mean by tone.
Okay, Mark will do it for us. First, I unshare your thing first, then Mark can do it.
do that. Yeah. Mark, can you do that for us?
Yeah.
When you
Yes.
coming up.
Ah, okay.
Okay, make
Enlarge
full
it,
screen.
Mark. Yes. Click.
Hold on, hold on.
Okay.
No sound.
Oh, you must click share sound first. You unshare. You go back.
I already shared the sound, but the video has no sound.
God.
I don't know why, because you can hear my
Okay.
voice, right?
Yeah.
I can hear your voice. The video has no voice.
Yeah, the video has no voice
try and see.
because
No.
even the video is on, there is
Okay,
no
hold
sound.
on. Let me
You have to
share sound.
share sound, I think.
Hold on. Let me check whether I can do it. Hold on, yeah.
Yeah, we need to listen to watch this video because it really illustrates the concept of tone, which we as speakers should be aware, you know.
Wait,
Just
can-
now you were sharing.
wait. Yeah, I couldn't find my thing now. Hold on, yeah.
It's in your WhatsApp. WhatsApp.
No, but I cannot find my WhatsApp. How to find it? Hold on. Wait.
Lengeline, you raise your hand. Is there anything you want to ask? Why, Ban Peng? Yes.
I'm not typically very interested in Korean music, but you were sharing the guy who can sing in 6 octaves.
Okay.
That was a Korean, right?
No. He's from Kazakhstan. You can search him. He is very famous. He's very good. But don't try to emulate him because he is the best singer in the world at the moment. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But why I put him in there is to show that pitch, the range of the pitch. All of us, we are normal people, so which means our pitch is kind of limited, And then our range within the pitch, there's a range: do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, re, mi, octave, and that's called octave, right? Now this guy has 5 octave, I think, which means he can go.
You see, in radio.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, a few days ago, during a meeting in my office, we got to talking about the days of radio, how different it was from television. You see, in radio, we relied heavily on imagination. With just a few words, we could create a whole mood, a whole picture, a picture in your mind. For example, I'd like to play for you a recording of an actual scene that I heard just a few weeks ago on my radio. Don, would you bring out that phonograph, please? Now, this is a recording of a radio program I heard just a few weeks ago. It's a love scene.
John, how could you do this to me?
Cynthia, what is it?
I saw what happened last night at the party. The way Ellen kept staring at you, devouring you with her eyes.
Darling, why would I look at another woman when I've got you? Your hair, your eyes, you're so beautiful.
Oh, I guess I have been foolish. It isn't your fault. You're so tall, so handsome, so attractive to women.
Well, that's what I heard. And now I'd like to bring out the two people who actually did that scene on the radio. Liz Lamont and Rick Barton. Now, tell me honestly, did you picture these two when you heard these words here?
John, how could you do this to me? What happened last night at the party? The way Ellen kept staring at you, devouring you with her eyes.
Why would I look at another woman when I've got you? Your hair, your eyes, you're so beautiful.
You know, radio really covers up a lot, doesn't it? Now look at, I want you to do me a favor. Oh, Don, would you please bring out that microphone and 2 scripts? Give them each their scripts, that's right. Now, do that scene again, just the way you did it on radio.
John, how could you do this to me? I saw what happened last night at the party. The way Ellen kept staring at you, devouring you with her eyes.
Darling. Your hair, your eyes, you're so beautiful.
Your radio really fooled you more than you thought. Now, thank you very much. You may go now. Oh, by the way, would you take this, sir?
Can we unshare?
Okay.
Where am I? Yeah, look. Oh,
Yeah,
no,
it was
that's not
very
the one.
comical.
Tone, right? The reason why I bring that up is we as speakers, we're capable of varying our tone, right? And we use the term sometimes called voices. And when you tell stories in particular, you use voices. Voices means if I were to tell the story about this wolf and the little girl, I can use voices. We call it in and out voice. So you are one person, and if you were to be the wolf, right? You use the wolf kind of a tone, right? Hello, little girl. Where are you going? You know? So that kind of the tone, the change the tone. Then the little girl say, "Hello, Mr. Wolf. I'm going to see my grandma." So you see that is something which you have to learn if you want to be a really outstanding speakers. These are the tone you have to take care of, right? And I give you an example. All right, this is my good friend. I think he's still doing it. I don't know. I used to be in radio, so we have this what we call microphone voice, right? And he was being asked to do the midnight show. We usually start about 12 o'clock at night, and then they play midnight magic, you know, the sound. And he would sound like this. He would say that, "Hello, everybody. Welcome to Midnight Magic. Tonight we're going to play with you some of the most fantastic, romantic song. Just lie back and enjoy." So he purposely toned his voice in that way because it's a midnight show. And this is another friend of mine. I mean, the picture of another friend. I think some of you may have heard of her. Her name is Yasmin Yusuf. Some of you may have heard us. She does a breakfast show. Now, can you imagine if Yasmin doing the breakfast show using the tone, "Hello, this is the breakfast show." I mean, come on, you see, if you listen to Yasmin say, "Hello, everybody, such a bright day. Today, I'm going to play very beautiful." You know, she changed her tone, right? And you are capable of doing that. So it's just that you have to be conscious it can be done. And let me move on very quickly. Lastly, we talk about pause. I think one of the speakers just now talked. Pause is very underrated. A lot of time we forgot about pause. And I'm just going to show you this, right? It's part and parcel of your vocal range, which is very strange. You know, silence is part of the range. I show you this, all right? Some of you may have heard of this person by the name of Winston Churchill. The end of the beginning, by middle of the Second World War, at a very critical time, he gave this speech which is considered as one of the best speeches ever been spoken by a leader, right? And if Winston Churchill were to give this speech without injecting any variety, in his case, the pause into it, it cannot be considered as the best speech. If you try to read it as it is, you say the whole fury and might of the enemy must very soon be turned on us. Hitler knows that he will have to break us here on this island or lose the war. If we can stand up to him, all Europe may be free. You can go on like that, all right? So pretty boring. No, so we mark it this way. I mark it with the dot, where the pause is. Right? I would say the whole fury and might of the enemy must very soon be turned on us. Hitler knows that he will have to break us on this island or lose the war. If we can stand up to him, all Europe may be free, The life of the world may move forward into broad, sunlit uplands. But if we fail, double pause. You see that? That's very important. If we fail, pause, I let you think, Yeah, if we fail, then the whole world, including the United States, including all that we have known and cared for, will sink into the abyss of a new dark age, made more sinister and perhaps more protracted by the lights of perverted science. Double pause. I'm saying something very profound, you're saying. So let you think, double pause. Let us therefore pause. We don't say, let us therefore brace, Let us therefore raise ourselves to our duty and bear ourselves that if the British Empire and its Commonwealth last 1,000 years, men will say, this is the line. This, the place, this was the finest hour. And this speech has been considered as this was the finest hour. So if you see that by putting in pause at the right place, right, it creates that kind of tension. So usually when I run this kind of workshop, it is an interactive workshop, so we do a lot of practice. Right? But what I've introduced to you are the 6 elements of your voice which you have to play with, but you have to practice it. So Mukesh and others, you say, oh, how do I sound like? No, you just keep on doing your speech. You just keep on doing but just knowing this doesn't mean you can do it. So you have to keep on doing your speech. I've owned up with here, so because you may have some question. Some of you may recognize who said this and where, right? And Mark, do you know what it is? Luke chapter 6, verse 34, I think, or 45, I cannot remember.
Wow.
Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speak. Now, this is related also to Dr. What's the name now, just now? Talk about, and Mark also talk about such a heart. Meaning, there is a relationship in your understanding and your belief in your speech with the voice, with the body language, all that. But of course, theater, people, actors that are being trained, I mean, I have gone through some of those training. Actors, sometimes they absolutely don't believe what they say, but they can say in such a way that it sounds good. But that is a lot of training. But for us, as public speakers, the first thing we want is that you must be sincere. You must believe in what you're saying. That's why Jesus Christ will say, out of the abundance of your heart, that the mouth speaks. I think this is very profound. You can, it's Luke chapter 6, I think 34, I cannot remember now. Right? So it relates to what the previous 2 speakers has been talking about. So we feel that getting your speech out must be authentic. I think somebody gave example of Frank Bottle going into the meeting and all this thing. Yeah, he doesn't believe in what he's saying. We are different, right? We are people who should believe in what we're going to say. If you do that by employing all these other techniques, it will come out. Don't worry, it's from your heart. I used to be a diving instructor, and so I spent a lot of time in the pools and all these things. Some people say, "Oh yeah, my voice very soft lah. I don't know what to do." So I said, "Okay, your voice is very soft, all right? So can you shout? Tell me from across the pool." Then he said, "Oh, my voice is very weak." So I said, "Okay." So I pushed her into the pool. You see her voice? You hear her voice, right? So because it's from the heart. So it's the same with all of us. So when we speak, so vocal variety is very important. But vocal variety is a reflection of our heart. And the techniques I share with you guys, right? These techniques, the 5-1, you can play on it, right? It's very simple actually. Where is it now? This one. 6 things. You just have to take care of it. You don't have to, but have I said, you cannot do it just by knowing it. You have to practice. So come to Agora meeting, right? Get a slot to speak. Never mind if it's not good. And just now somebody was saying that when she gave the talk on the impromptu speech, she kind of didn't do well. Of course you don't do well. I don't expect you to do well in the first. Some of us who have been going up to that level of public speaking, we have spoken thousands of speeches. Right? And that's the way. But what we're sharing, the 2 speakers and myself sharing with you, are some techniques which you know, right? Now you know, you see? And I just end up with here on the question of tone. Remember? We said tone, and that's why I played the video of the tone, right? And that's something you can practice. As I said, practice. One way we can practice is like this. Usually in a face-to-face training, we do that. I will show you a picture of a baby, and I want you to speak to the baby. You see, your tone will change, you know. You don't shout a bit. Hello, baby. Your voice even go like that. All right. So the tone is very important of your speech. And one day we can do a more advanced training on this. But one thing I will leave you at the moment is this. If you are serious about wanting to improve your speech, write out your speech and we mark the speech. There's a marking. All good serious speakers, we mark out the speech where we want to stress, where we want to pause, where we mark it out. It's just like the musical score, when you sing the musical score, we mark out something like this. And that's all I can share with you. And if you have any question, I will deal with it now. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you.
How do I
Wait, unshare. Okay.
unshare? How do I unshare?
Oh, I enjoyed this one so much. This is really good. I think tonight we have 3 really super sessions by 3 supermen. Okay.
So if you have any question, you can ask.
Yes.
I'm interested. People, I can see that Sim Bok Seng is still here, and he's somebody whom I admire a lot, and he has tried to improve his speech by learning, because he took part in speech contest, right? So you really got to employ all the things. Say, right? Go up there and speak like Biden, Ayatollah, forget it. I know. So I've gone through that. I know we have to think of where to pause, where to do this. These are all the techniques. As I said, it is just knowing the techniques is not enough. Just knowing how to swim from the library is not enough. You have to get wet. Right? So I invite all of you to book your slot to speak, rather than just a few of us speaking all the time. All right. Thank you. Anybody want to suggest anything?
Yes,
I
I think the first one we want to invite is Mr. Sim. Talk to us about this presentation.
unmute. Yeah.
Okay, first of all, thank you, Mr. Dunstan Chan. From the abundance of my heart, I want to say that I benefited a lot. I really love how you presented this. The transition was smooth, and it's so easy for me to follow as you move from one point to another point. I find the content very useful, and I also like the wide myriad of engagement techniques that you use, despite the fact that you're doing this online. Yeah. For example, you start off by telling us a story, crossing the river Abing, and that itself struck home a very important point, the difference between learning as a head knowledge and learning in applying and practice. So to me, that was a very powerful story to share. And then when you showed us the video, to be or not to be, wow, I saw the difference in how a simple element like stressing on single words can completely change the emphasis and the meaning of the entire sentence. Now you went on to show us pictures of the football match to illustrate the change in the pace, as well as Dimash crazy 6-octave pitch. I really like that video. Wow! When I saw the in and out voices, I saw and I felt I could really feel the visual and audio difference. What we heard from radio and when we can see that couple doing those voices. So it's really a game changer for me. Do I project the right kind of audio
Voice.
and visual image to my audience? So thank you so much, Dunstan. And also the example on how the power pauses utilized by Winston Churchill, and I so embrace this in a world that doesn't stop talking. Silence is a very powerful word, and I think you demonstrated that. So thank you so much, Sifu.
Thank you, Sim. Yeah. Actually, the other guys, I mean, all of them, the American president, except for the last 2, 3. I mean, I don't understand the last 2 and 3. They are really the previous presidents are all very good speakers. And Obama, you notice that Obama, he uses a lot of pause, right? And in relation to what who was worrying about the R counter, Mukesh. But if you listen to Obama, he also said every time. But because the other things he did is so good that it didn't become important anymore. All right, it is not a hindrance. But if you listen to Obama, just one thing about pause. Just now, tell you is this: there are techniques. You can try it now. Now, either you pause before you say something very important. All right, so that I'm going to tell you how to make $1 million. Then I stop. Then everybody say, ha, 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 what? That's why you pause, right? The other one is after you say something very profound, you pause and let it sink in. That is some of the technique, but you have to try it out. And you'll be surprised how good you can be. Okay, thanks. Anybody else want to share?
Yes, I want to invite, thank you, Sim. I think you must be one of those who keep on winning prizes for evaluation speech contest. It's amazing. You cover everything that I can imagine. It's really very super
You won
good.
the international speech contest before.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay, some people have not spoken for a very long time. E.T., are you still there? E.T., yeah, could you share some observations? We can all learn together.
Observation of that, Mr. Dunstan?
Yeah, the learning experience.
Okay, good. Thank you. Am I audible?
You are a bit louder, please.
Am I audible and visible?
You are audible.
Yes.
You are audible.
I have put all in the maximum.
You're only audible when you speak.
Oh. I'm speaking by my heart, Mike.
From the abundance of your heart, you must quote correctly.
Yeah, that's one of the session there. Okay, I really love the video that is used. about those actor practicing to be or not to be. Well, that's a simple sentence that caught my attention. And then the the last video, the second video, it is also great because radio is like one of my favorite. Actually, not the radio itself, but the podcast. I listen to podcast every single day, and I have never missed it. And then I converted into become a podcaster, and I'm practicing also my radio voice, and that's not easy. I'm running it in the hardest way. At first, my tone was very plain, and then I'm listening to most of those podcasts. And yes, if people see me in the real me, they will get confused. Oh, it is you who are voicing this character. You are not like basically like what that video tells you. So yeah, keep on practicing, guys. Maybe you can make a good actor. You can be a good actor. So yes, thank you, Mr. Dunstan. It's always amazing to listen to you. Back to you, Pante.
This, I just want to put in one point here. I used to also speak on the radio, and we're interviewing people to be the announcer and all these things. We look for people who, some people naturally have what we call the microphone voice, right? The microphone voice. And you can learn it, the microphone. There's a technique in speaking into microphone. If you listen to many of them, they're really good. In Malaysia, we used to have this guy. I don't know whether he's still doing it or not. Patrick Teo. Patrick Teo has a very good microphone voice. He's a kind of. So that is. There's so many things we can learn in this world. Huh? So if you want to do podcasts, you can learn the microphone voice, and it is very, very powerful. Thank you.
Oh, the microphone voice, Dunstan, can be learned.
Yeah, you have to practice because you somebody was saying something just now about hearing your own voice, the voice, isn't it? It's the same. When you speak into the microphone, right? You didn't realize what you sound like, So you have to play back, yeah. And you'll be surprised at your own voice. And this is why I always recommend that anybody is going to do any speeches, just listen to themselves first, because you'll be shocked by your own voice sometimes.
Yeah, that's why I dare not go to karaoke, because somebody may shoot me with their gun.
That is not a made up thing. That is real, huh?
Yeah.
That's real, huh? Because and maybe another point is this: karaoke is good for public speaking as well, because you learn how to modulate your voice and all these things, provided you don't get shot. I suppose so. Just always sing karaoke with your friends. Don't go to a public place because there are a lot of fights usually, and people laugh at you, things like that. Okay.
Shauna, say something. What have you learned?
Actually, I think I'll start from the beginning in the sense I felt that it was all connected, all three. Was it Mark who said that once it's connected to your heart, then it's time to call for action, and the audience is willing to take action. I think it kind of happened here, I feel, in some ways, because Dr. Vincent started by saying, "You are the message," and he said how by being your authentic self and conveying the message that you want to convey through yourself and through your vocal variety and all that, you convey the message to the crowd. And Mark talked about connecting to people through stories and questions and all of those different ways. And even Mr. Dunstan also spoke of the same thing, and then told us, out of the abundance of your heart, you speak. So that was also about your being your authentic self and connecting to people. And at the same time, he also said you have to get in there and do it, So there was a call to action also. You know, you need to swim and get wet and yeah, practice speaking and make mistakes. So it was really inspiring and very nice to hear that it's all there. You just need to be yourself and be brave and start speaking. So that was
how many
truly.
swim have you done?
I'm sorry?
How many swim have you done?
Oh, I have swam a lot.
I mean
Is that what
speaking.
you speaking? Not as much.
Ah, it's
Yes.
actually it's a very simple equation. The more you speak, the
Yes.
better. And there was a world champion. I think some of you may have heard of him. His name is Baron Roy. His name now. I think he was the one who says to be a champion. One thing he always said, stage time, stage time, stage time. So you have to go up on the stage. You know, he's a competitive speaker, so it's different, right? So it must be on the stage and try it out. And a lot of times in the beginning, you fall flat on your face. Doesn't matter.
Yes.
You just have to do it. And again, I back to the question, to the point is this. That's why clubs like Toastmasters and Agora Club is being formed. We believe in the principle of experiential learning. It's not instructional. You can attend 100 workshop of teaching you how to do this, but unless you go and try it, you cannot improve. Yeah. So do try to give your speech. Doesn't matter whether it's good or bad. Try it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Dunstan. Anybody want to have a last chance to speak before we call it the night? Mukesh.
So yeah, I had a question, Bang. So you said we can speak at this Agora Club. So when does that happen? Does it happen every month, or when do we get a slot to speak
Okay.
as such?
Agora Singapore is one of the clubs in Singapore. Earlier, there was a gentleman who is with Agora, another Agora club in Singapore. Okay. We also have Agora club in many different countries as well. So if you want a lot of opportunity, you can let me know. I can connect you to other clubs. And then, in fact, you can just Google search Agora Speakers International. There is a I think club list or club visit list or something. You can just contact them. But you must take note, if they are in a different country, the time zone is different. Right? Okay, so that's number one. Number two, of course, you can also get yourself invited to Toastmasters Club in Singapore. I can also connect you to them. Yeah. So as far as my club is concerned, we have 2 meetings a month. I will send you the invitation. One is on the first Wednesday, right?
Okay.
And that is today, Zoom. The other one is on the third Thursday. That one is physical at International Plaza, which is not very far from your university. Yeah, that one is physical meeting. I will send you the invitation and you will see the date, the time, and the address and stuff. Everything is in there. Okay, I'll send you the invitation. Any other question? Anybody want to say anything before we sign off?
Maybe I have to practice more. I'm thinking of kind of giving a speech every week. That's the plan.
Yeah, you need to. You need to.
Oh, Mukesh, I have a better solution for you if you want to accelerate your learning from the experiential thing, is to set up your own Agora club. It does not cost you anything. You just round out a few of your fellow students or neighbors or friends. You can just form one club and you can speak every week if you want to. Because there are enough place in your university for you, a quiet
You are
corner
in
for you to.
Singapore, isn't it? Mukesh, you're in Singapore, isn't it?
Yeah,
Do
I'm
you
in
have
Singapore.
a Zoom account?
Sorry, which account?
Do you have a Zoom account?
Yeah, I have a Zoom account, yes.
Okay, so you can do that. We will join you. You just tell us when we will join you.
Yeah, you can
I
invite you can
Yeah,
invite
but I have to get a couple
Dunstan
of people.
to be
Yeah.
one of your
Yeah.
trainers, and
Yeah.
Mike will help as well, or even Mr. Sim if you invite him.
Yeah.
Right, there are
Yeah, I
many
have to
people
get
who will help you.
got it. Got it.
I
I have
want
to get a
to
couple of friends first. I need to ask people who are interested.
yeah,
So
it's okay. Yeah. There's just one thing I want to round off first is two things. Right? Number one is this: I also run a workshop on storytelling, which is more towards what we're talking about. You know, to tell a story, it must be you must have the dramatic pause. You must have all these things. It's called You, the Storyteller, and in a sense that it is easier to do all those things with story because the story itself are exciting. You see? So maybe one day, Bampeng and schedule, I can do that for you guys. Right? In the meantime, there's one thing I want to tell you. This is, if you watch the Hollywood the actors, all right, the Hollywood actors, and you listen to them in doing their speech in the movie, it's fantastic. They're really good, and I would recommend to you one speech, one you can go online and find it. It's called On Any Given Sunday. On Any Given Sunday, Al Pacino. All right. And you listen to that. That was in character, right? So it's not perfect, but in character. What I'm saying is this. Why I want to introduce this to you is this. The actors, they go through years of training. Now, we are not actors, we are not going to be professional, but we can still be as good as far as our speech making is concerned. Actors are different. Don't be fooled by them. I mean, if you listen to some of the actors when they speak, when they receive the Oscar award, they're horrible. Honestly, some of them could hardly speak properly, but when you listen to them in the movies, wow, you know, they're really good. You see, it goes to prove that practice makes perfect. But no, not right. Practice doesn't make perfect. Correct practice make perfect. That's what this kind of club is doing. We are sharing with you the correct way, which you then have to practice. You understand? So the education session which Banpeng has been putting together is very important. You get different people share ideas. That is the correct way of doing it. Then you have to practice. So without attending the educational session, you just practice by yourself, you become perfectly wrong possible. With that, I sign off. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dunstan. Let's invite Mike to do the closing address. Mike Nicholson.
Good evening, all. My recommendation is get involved. Yeah. Mukesh, you only need a minimum of 8 people to start an Agora club. My recommendation is go for 20 eventually, because I prefer weekly meetings and people come when they can. You don't have to come every week. So having about 15 to 20 regulars is great. And in a university, that's achievable. So as we've said, yeah, Agora is all about experiential learning by doing. I as Dunstan also was a diving instructor. I started diving 1969. I remember it well. City University in the freezing cold in the United Kingdom. And one of the techniques we had to do was swim one length of the pool with a snorkel, no mask. So you've got your whole face underwater, your nose is open to the water. Could I do that? No. Took me like 6 weeks trying to swim a little bit without drowning myself. And that's the same as public speaking. Yeah, you learn by doing. Learn by falling flat on your face. Yeah, it's learning like riding a bike. You cannot ride a bike without falling off and scratching your elbows. So just go do it. Who cares? Agora is the place to make mistakes. You're amongst friends. We will laugh with you, not at you, and you will get feedback. I joined Toastmasters, God knows, 30 years ago. In the United Kingdom, I was about 45. I was the region training manager for United Parcel Service of America. And I went along after about 15 invitations to this Toastmaster meeting, and I kept putting it off and off and off. Eventually I went. It just happened to be above a pub, so there was an incentive. And I'm sitting right in the middle of cinema seating, not planning to speak. I just wanted to go along. Could this be useful to some of my managers? And literally after about 20 minutes, I thought, oh my God, you need to come here. I felt in my heart that I was getting worse and worse the more I spoke. Being the training manager for Europe, I would do the same speech 50 times. I got so bored, it became obvious. But being the boss, nobody would say boo. And I experienced a Toastmaster, good God, these people give you feedback. And that's what I really needed. And that's the advantage of coming to a club. As Dunstan has said, yeah, you can read all of the manuals forever and ever, but you need to get feedback. Other people will give you feedback on how to be better next time. So keep joining meetings wherever. Yeah, I mean, Agora is in 30 countries now. We have more than 220 clubs. We're growing really quite quickly. Set up a club, not difficult. So thank you, Ban Peng, for hosting this meeting.
Yeah.
It's always good value. Put the first Wednesday of every month in your planner and plan to come. Anybody that would like to come to Indonesia, please do. We have, again, many clubs there, and some of them are regular club. I treat this as an advanced club, but we also in Indonesia, we have basic clubs where people are starting from the beginning, and that's also good. So, Mukesh, I'd be very happy to help you start a club by remote control in Singapore, and it is really easy. You just need persistence. So thank you much. See you all next month.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Mukesh, the good news is it does not cost you a single cent to set up an Agora club. There's no need to pay a fee to anybody, right? You get all the support free of charge. You got all the material you can download online free of charge. So Agora is truly a social service, community service organization. We are not here to make even a single cent. And like Mike and Dunstan, we do not charge a single cent. We are just volunteer to help each other.
We love to do this. And
one day you'll be doing the same thing.
Is already, say the training material is already prepared and more coming. There are 16 projects in the basic manual. We've just revised it. Half of them we've issued. The other half will come along in the next few weeks. And we are now starting on a new manual for leadership and also a manual, advanced manual on storytelling. And there will be many more advanced manuals. So we're all volunteers, and obviously we can't produce training manuals every week because we're relying on volunteerism. But yeah, the more the merrier. Come and join us. It makes it worthwhile doing. So see you all in August 24/5 in AgoraCon 2024. It's being organized by Romania. It will be worldwide. I think it probably starts in Singapore at 8 in the evening. We'll go on for about 5 or 6 hours. And there are 2 days, Saturday, August 24 and Sunday 25. There are 4 speech contests. So we will have 4 finalists competing for each of them. And then watching speech contestants is again a great way to learn. Great way to learn. So come and get involved in Agora. Thank you. I'll stop now.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everyone.
Ban Peng, before I just want to say something before we leave. Just now, Ban Peng told everybody that we are doing it for free. Okay? Remember?
Yes.
All right. Yes. We are doing it for free, but some of us are actually professional speakers. So outside this, don't expect Tim is also a professional speaker.
All
So
right.
sometimes the corporate company, they have me to ask me to give a motivational talk or whatever talk to. Of course, it's not free. They have to pay $1,000, you see. But for this, it's free. You understand what I'm saying? So
Right.
many of us are actually professional speakers. We are offering our service here for free, but not outside to the adults. So don't tell your manager to get me to speak for free. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night, everyone. See you again. Bye-bye. See you next month.